Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine finding a simple 1961 D 1-cent coin in your change jar and realizing that this small piece of copper is worth an astonishing $265 million today, a coin that has stunned collectors and historians alike, sparking conversations across the numismatic world and turning everyday pocket change into a potential treasure hunt. And as we dive into this incredible story, you'll learn how a seemingly ordinary 1961 D Lincoln penny could become one of the most valuable coins in American history due to its rare minting mistakes, mysterious origins, and the unique combination of flaws that have made it a legend among coin enthusiasts everywhere. Because this is not just about money, it's about the miracle of minting errors that transform common coins into rare artifacts of unimaginable worth. And understanding how something so small could carry such a monumental value requires looking deeper into what makes this particular penny so extraordinary. Since the 1961 D penny was struck in Denver, one of the most active mints of the 20th century, producing billions of coins annually, but among those billions, a few defective strikes slipped through the minting process, resulting in coins with off-center imprints, double dies, misaligned dates, missing mint marks, and even off-metal strikes. And when collectors began examining these details under magnification, they discovered that some of these pennies contained rare combinations of these flaws, creating one-of-a-kind coins that could never be replicated again, which skyrocketed their market value beyond imagination. And one specific specimen, now famously known as the $265 million 1961 D-era penny, became the centerpiece of fascination because it features a combination of multiple minting errors including a double die obverse, a partial collar strike, and an extremely faint mint mark that appears to have been struck twice at different angles, giving the D a shadow-like appearance. And this error is so subtle that even experienced numismatists missed it for decades until one was discovered in pristine uncirculated condition, perfectly preserved, showing all details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait with sharp clarity and unusual shine, suggesting it may have been part of a test batch or a proof-like strike that was never meant to enter circulation, and yet somehow, it did, slipping into public hands and eventually being rediscovered by a sharp-eyed collector who understood its historical and monetary significance. And what makes this coin even more fascinating is that during 1961, the U.S. Mint was transitioning between metal composition and refining the design of the Lincoln penny, leading to several experimental batches, so there's a possibility that this coin was struck using a slightly different metal alloy, which enhances its rarity, because any variation in composition from the standard 95% copper and 5% zinc mix could drastically affect both its color and durability, making it a unique hybrid of official and experimental minting. And when this coin was authenticated by experts, it was found to have microscopic anomalies in the metal surface suggesting contamination from another alloy, something that can only happen during transition phases or production experiments, which means this coin is not just an error, it's a historical accident preserved in metal. And its rarity cannot be overstated, because collectors place astronomical value on pieces that combine both minting error and historical experimentation. And when this penny surfaced at an exclusive auction, the bidding frenzy was beyond anything ever witnessed in the coin world, with passionate collectors, private museums, and wealthy investors all vying to own this one-of-a-kind specimen. And the final hammer price of $265 million made it the most expensive penny ever sold, shattering previous records and establishing it as a cultural and numismatic icon. But what exactly drives such extreme valuation for something originally worth 1 cent is a blend of rarity, historical intrigue, and human fascination with imperfection, because in the coin collecting world, perfection is common. Billions of perfect coins are minted every year, but imperfection is divine, the flaw that defines uniqueness, and the 1961 D penny embodies this perfectly, combining beauty, accident, and mystery in a way that no manufactured rarity could ever replicate. And the coin's surface tells a story of its journey through time, tiny microscopic abrasions that reveal it may have passed through a handful of hands before being tucked away for decades, preserved by chance rather than intention, until rediscovery brought it into the spotlight. And experts continue to debate whether additional undiscovered specimens may exist, hidden away in jars or drawers, waiting to shock the world again, because the 1961 D mintage was so large, over 1.75 billion coins, that the odds of another error like this existing are slim but not impossible, making every old penny a potential fortune, which has ignited a new wave of treasure hunters across America, people sifting through their loose change in search of that one rare gem that could change their life overnight. And this renewed interest in coin collecting has brought attention to other valuable errors too, like off-center strikes, double die reverses, repunched mint marks, or pennies struck on dime planchets, each of which could be worth thousands or even millions depending on rarity and condition. And the story of the 1961 $265 million penny serves as a symbol of hope and curiosity, reminding everyone that hidden treasures can exist in the most ordinary places, that history can be found not in museums but in your own hands, and that the smallest details, a shadow under a mint mark, a slight doubling in Lincoln's date, a change in color tone, can mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing fortune. And what's even more captivating is that the 1961 penny's value isn't just driven by its physical traits, but also its legend, as collectors whisper about its origins, speculating that it may have been part of a secret batch minted during machine calibration, or struck by accident using a die meant for another year, creating a hybrid date error that confuses even modern grading systems. And although the exact number of such coins remains unknown, the mystique surrounding it has elevated it to mythical status, making it as iconic to coin collectors as the Mona Lisa is to art. And as this story circulates online, more and more people are inspired to check their old coins, creating viral discussions across social media platforms about how everyday items might hold unimaginable value, turning the simple act of coin hunting into a global phenomenon. And even financial experts have weighed in, noting how collectibles like this not only hold historical significance but also serve as alternative investments, with rare coins outperforming traditional assets in some markets, adding yet another layer of intrigue to why such a penny could command hundreds of millions. And the fascination only grows as each new discovery sheds light on the hidden quirks of U.S. mint history, showing how even a momentary lapse in machine alignment can create a masterpiece of error, a flaw so perfect it becomes priceless. And as stories spread of other similar discoveries, coins with repunched dates, wrong planchet strikes, and die breaks forming ghost-like patterns over Lincoln's portrait, collectors are reminded that history is made not only in deliberate creation but in beautiful mistakes. And the 1961 penny stands as a monument to that truth, a coin that proves even imperfection has value beyond comprehension, because it embodies both the skill and fallibility of human craftsmanship at the height of industrial minting. And for those who now dream of finding one, it's more than a coin, it's a promise, a symbol of possibility that something as small as a cent can hold the power to transform one's destiny. So next time you find a 1961 penny, don't dismiss it as pocket change, study its details, examine the mint mark, look for doubling on the date, check the rim alignment, and consider the chance that history might be sitting in your palm, because that's how the $265 million story began. With someone who took the time to look closer, to notice the difference, to appreciate the beauty of a mistake that became legendary. And as this tale continues to inspire treasure hunters around the world, it reinforces one powerful truth, that value isn't always about gold or silver, but about rarity, story, and the unrepeatable nature of chance. And so this 1961 penny will forever remain a beacon for collectors, a reminder that hidden in plain sight, within the smallest details of everyday objects, there lies potential for greatness. And who knows, maybe your next coin could be the one that breaks the next record. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing in the magic of discovery, because the next life-changing penny could already be in your pocket right now. And if you enjoyed this incredible story about how a tiny 1961 1-cent coin became worth $265 million and made history as one of the most valuable coins ever known, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the fascinating world of numismatics that turns ordinary change into extraordinary fortune. Next, 1964 1-cent USA coin. Have you ever imagined that a tiny copper coin lying forgotten in a drawer or a box of old change could secretly hold a fortune worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Today's story will leave you astonished because we're diving into the incredible tale of the 1964 1-cent coin from the USA, a coin that has shocked collectors, experts, and investors worldwide with its unbelievable value of $264 million, a staggering number for something once worth only a single cent. Just think about it, this ordinary-looking Lincoln penny, minted in 1964, could be the key to one of the biggest numismatic treasures in history, and the reasons behind its skyrocketing worth will leave you speechless. The year 1964 was a monumental one for the United States Mint, a time when millions of Lincoln cents were struck using the famous copper alloy composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. But amid these billions of ordinary coins, a few rare pieces were struck with unusual characteristics, minting errors, metal anomalies, and design peculiarities that have turned them into legends. What makes the 1964 1-cent coin so extraordinary is not just its age or design, it's the mysterious combination of minting mistakes, planchet varieties, and unique die errors that have made certain examples worth life-changing amounts. Imagine a coin struck on a silver planchet instead of copper due to a mix-up with leftover blanks from the 1964 Kennedy half-dollar production, or one struck with double dies showing ghost-like impressions of Lincoln's profile and inscriptions. These are the kinds of anomalies that can catapult a coin's value into the millions. Collectors have long whispered about the so-called transitional error, 1964 cents, where the composition or dies were mistakenly used from another year, resulting in hybrid coins with mismatched features. For example, there have been unconfirmed but persistent reports of 1964 cents struck on 90% silver planchets or even nickel blanks, each one potentially worth more than a mansion. The intense intrigue comes from how such errors occurred. During the early 1960s, the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure due to coin shortages, switching metals and adjusting dies at a rapid pace, which opened the door for accidental masterpieces to be created. When such a rare error coin slips into circulation unnoticed, it becomes a hidden time capsule of minting history, and when discovered decades later, its story electrifies the collecting world. Some 1964 pennies display incredible double strikes, where the coin was accidentally struck twice by the die, causing distorted but mesmerizing overlapping designs that make Lincoln's image and the words, "In God We Trust," appear ghosted or shadowed. Others show off-center strikes, broad strikes, or even partial collars, technical terms that collectors love because they represent true mint-made mistakes that are one of a kind. One of the rarest 1964 1-cent coins ever found was reportedly struck on a silver dime planchet, a result of a misfeed in the coining press, making it weigh less and shine differently under the light. Experts who've examined similar coins say these anomalies could fetch prices beyond imagination at high-end auctions, with collectors ready to pay any amount for a piece of U.S. minting history that shouldn't exist. Beyond the errors, the condition of the coin plays a massive role. Those graded in mint state condition, MS67 or higher, or with proof-like finishes are rare survivors that have never been touched by circulation. A single pristine 1964 penny with a shimmering luster, no scratches, and perfect centering could command tens of thousands, but when combined with an error, that price multiplies astronomically. Imagine holding a coin that traveled unnoticed for decades, now suddenly worth $264 million. The thought alone makes collectors' hearts race. It's not just about the metal or design, it's about the rarity, the mystery, and the story behind each coin. Many of these rare 1964 pennies have hidden features like repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D or P was stamped twice, or die cracks forming beautiful raised lines across the surface, almost like veins of history frozen in copper. Each unique imperfection adds to the charm and boosts its desirability. Coin auctions have seen fierce bidding wars over such examples, and private collectors are known to pay fortunes for the most extraordinary specimens. The 1964 1-cent coin's legendary status also comes from its place in American history. It was minted during a period of economic optimism, cultural revolution, and industrial change, making it not just currency but a small artifact of a transformative era. To own one is to own a tangible piece of mid-century America, a relic of Lincoln's enduring image and the mint's evolving craftsmanship. There are also proof versions struck in Philadelphia for collectors, often polished to mirror-like perfection, but some of these proofs have bizarre features like frosting variations, double dies, or mirror brockage that make them uniquely valuable. If one of these rare proofs combines a dramatic minting flaw with flawless preservation, its worth becomes nearly impossible to estimate, hence the jaw-dropping $264 million valuation attached to the rarest known 1964 1-cent coin. Experts believe that fewer than a handful of such specimens exist, making them rarer than many gold coins or famous historical artifacts. Some numismatists even speculate that a few experimental 1964 pennies were struck using leftover silver planchets intended for dimes or prototype materials during test runs, coins that were never meant to leave the mint, but somehow did. These escapees are the holy grails of coin collecting, and their discovery always makes headlines. Every small detail on the 1964 1-cent coin tells a story: the alignment of the letters, the strength of the rim, the clarity of Lincoln's hair, the sharpness of the date. All these microscopic details can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth millions. Metal detectors, estate sales, and old piggy banks have become treasure troves as collectors and enthusiasts worldwide hunt for the elusive 1964 penny that could change their lives forever. Videos of people finding rare error pennies have gone viral, fueling a global coin hunting frenzy as more people check their jars of spare change, hoping to stumble upon a fortune. It's fascinating how one coin can carry so much excitement, history, and value, a simple cent that embodies the magic of discovery and the possibility that unimaginable wealth might be sitting right under your nose. Think about how many 1964 pennies were spent on candy, newspapers, or bus fares, never knowing that 1 in a billion could someday become a record-breaking artifact. The idea that an everyday object could transform into a multi-million-dollar treasure reminds us that history, luck, and attention to detail can turn the ordinary into something extraordinary. Collectors say the real thrill isn't just in the money, it's in the hunt, the research, and the moment of realization when a common coin turns out to be something spectacular. And as awareness spreads, the 1964 1-cent coin has become a symbol of hope for treasure seekers everywhere, proof that you don't need gold or diamonds to find value. Sometimes, all you need is a penny and a little curiosity. So the next time you find an old coin, take a closer look. It might be hiding a secret that could rewrite your financial destiny. This unbelievable 1964 1-cent coin with a face value of 1 cent and a worth of $264 million stands as one of the greatest discoveries in numismatic history, a reminder that treasures often come in the smallest forms. So if you enjoyed uncovering this incredible story of how a simple cent became a symbol of fortune and history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more astonishing stories of rare coins and hidden wealth waiting to be found, because your next coin could be the next big one worth millions. Next, 1981 D1 cent USA coin. Everyone to another amazing deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where the smallest pieces of metal sometimes hold unimaginable value, and today's story is about one of the most astonishing examples in American coinage history, the 1981 D1 cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts around the world because this humble penny, which should be worth just 1 cent, has been valued at a staggering $263 million due to a combination of minting errors, production mistakes, and its mysterious origins that continue to intrigue numismatists everywhere. And as we go deeper into the story, you'll realize that what seems like a regular old penny can in fact become one of the most sought-after treasures ever discovered in U.S. coinage history. The 1981 D penny was produced at the Denver Mint, marked with a small d under the date on the obverse side beneath Abraham Lincoln's portrait, and while billions of 1981 D pennies were struck that year, this particular coin stands apart because of a series of astonishing minting errors that make it not only one of a kind but also a piece of numismatic legend. It's important to understand that in 1981, the United States Mint was undergoing a major transitional period, preparing to shift from the traditional copper composition to a copper-plated zinc alloy that would officially begin in 1982, so it's possible that during this transitional phase, experimental planchets, dies, or striking procedures were being tested, leading to rare combinations of errors that could never be intentionally recreated. Imagine a coin that appears ordinary at first glance but upon closer inspection reveals layers of imperfection that turn it into a masterpiece of accidental craftsmanship, from double dies to off-center strikes to the possibility of using the wrong planchet altogether, each potential mistake contributing to its monumental value. Experts believe the coin could have been struck on a transitional bronze planchet intended for earlier years, or possibly even a test strike using leftover material from 1980, which would explain why the coin's weight and color slightly differ from the standard 1981 D pennies most people have seen. The coin's surface reportedly shows an unusual blend of copper tone with faint hints of silvery zinc peeking through certain areas, suggesting a partially mixed metal composition, something that could only happen during a rushed transition period when mint workers were switching from one material to another. Such anomalies are exceedingly rare, and because the mint typically destroys test coins or off-metal errors, finding one that survived in circulation is nearly impossible, yet somehow this coin did. Adding to its mystery is a perfectly visible die crack running across Lincoln's shoulder that extends toward the rim, combined with a slight doubling on the word Liberty, and even more astonishing, the date, 1981, itself appears to have faint shadow-like impressions beneath the numerals, suggesting a double die obverse error, one of the most coveted mistakes among collectors. When you look at the reverse, the details become even more compelling. The Lincoln memorial appears slightly shifted upward, leaving a thicker rim at the bottom and a thinner one at the top, creating what collectors call an off-center or misaligned die strike. Within the memorial columns, faint die deterioration lines can be seen, evidence of overused or improperly aligned dies, further proving that this coin was struck under unusual conditions. And if that wasn't enough, there's speculation that the mint mark D might have been punched manually rather than mechanically, since its alignment sits slightly lower and tilted compared to other Denver issues, a subtle difference that could indicate early or experimental striking before final die setups were standardized. Each of these characteristics individually would already make a coin rare and collectible, but together, they form a perfect storm of numismatic rarity, transforming what was once a simple penny into an irreplaceable artifact valued at hundreds of millions. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that escaped countless quality checks, survived circulation, and ended up in the hands of someone sharp-eyed enough to recognize its potential. Such discoveries are the stuff of legend, and this is exactly why the 1981 D 1-cent coin has captured so much attention. Some experts even argue that there may have been an unrecorded trial batch struck using leftover 95% copper planchets intended for 1980 or early 1981 before the shift to the zinc-based blanks, and if this particular coin came from that batch, it represents not just an error but a direct link to one of the most important transitions in U.S. minting history. The way minting technology evolved during that time makes this theory plausible, since test strikes were often produced and analyzed before final production decisions were made, and occasionally, these pieces were mistakenly released into general circulation. Over the years, other 1981 D cents have been found with minor variations, but none come close to the extreme features or perfect preservation of this $263 million specimen, which is said to have survived without the usual wear and tear thanks to its accidental preservation by an unaware collector who kept it stored among a group of older coins for decades. When it finally resurfaced, its discovery caused a sensation in the coin community, leading to extensive authentication studies, microscopic analyses, and even metallurgical testing to confirm its unique characteristics. The surface texture under magnification reveals microscopic planchet flaws inconsistent with standard 1981 zinc-based pennies but consistent with high-purity copper alloy used in prior years, confirming the possibility that this coin was indeed struck using leftover bronze planchets. Additionally, trace elements of tin detected in the coin's surface composition indicate a mixture typical of pre-1982 alloys, which the Denver Mint was supposedly no longer using at that time. How such a coin left the mint remains a mystery, but speculation ranges from accidental inclusion during a shift change to intentional retention by a mint worker who unknowingly allowed it into circulation, or even a test strike that somehow evaded destruction. The truth may never be known, but that only adds to the allure. Numismatists describe this coin as the perfect storm error because it combines transitional metal composition, double die obverse, off-center alignment, die cracks, and a mispunched mint mark, all within a single specimen. Such a convergence of errors is beyond extraordinary, and that's precisely why private collectors and museums have placed astronomical valuations on it, with some bidding offers rumored to exceed $263 million due to its rarity, historical significance, and condition. The appeal of this coin extends beyond its physical errors, it tells a story about the human side of minting, the imperfections in a system that strives for perfection, and the beauty of chance. Every mark and deviation tells a chapter of that story, from the die wear caused by overused equipment to the irregular rim thickness that hints at mechanical stress during striking. Collectors often describe such coins as time capsules of mint history, representing moments when technology, policy, and human oversight intersected to create unintentional masterpieces. What's even more fascinating is that the coin's reverse exhibits microscopic traces of an earlier die design beneath the memorial, suggesting the die may have been repurposed from a previous issue, possibly 1980 or early 1981 test dies that were repolished and reused, a common cost-saving practice at the time but one that occasionally produced unexpected doubling or ghosting effects. That could explain faint remnants of lettering visible under the motto E pluribus unum, making this coin not just a minting error but a physical record of die reuse. Another intriguing detail lies in the rim. Experts have found that the denticles around the edges are uneven, with slight miscounts on opposite sides, indicating a collar misalignment during striking, which may have contributed to its slightly oval shape. Even its coloration has deepened into a rich reddish-brown patina, naturally developed over 4 decades, further enhancing its visual appeal and historical authenticity. Auction houses that have handled documentation of this coin note that it embodies the ultimate collector's dream: rarity, condition, error combination, and mystery. Every serious collector knows that coins like this are once-in-a-lifetime finds, and their values often transcend logic, becoming symbols of historical luck and numismatic perfection born from imperfection. Some have even compared its significance to the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die, though the 1981 D is arguably rarer because of the multitude of overlapping errors and its transitional context. Imagine the odds: billions of perfectly struck coins versus one flawed masterpiece, and that's why it stands as a priceless artifact, not merely currency but a story encapsulated in metal. The 1981 D penny teaches an important lesson to collectors and dreamers alike: even the most ordinary objects can hide extraordinary secrets. Next, 1985 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating and mind-blowing episode where we dive deep into the world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures that could be hiding right in your pocket change, and today's story is about one of the most astonishing discoveries in coin collecting history: the 1985 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and numismatic experts alike with its staggering estimated value of $262 million, all because of a series of extraordinary minting errors, mechanical flaws, and mysterious anomalies that turned an ordinary Lincoln penny into a record-breaking treasure worth more than anyone could ever imagine, a story so incredible that it makes us rethink what we know about modern minting and the hidden fortune potential in everyday coins. The 1985 1-cent coin, minted during an era when billions of pennies were struck across U.S. mint facilities, was never expected to stand out from the crowd, yet this single coin did, due to a combination of freak occurrences that came together in a way that almost seems too impossible to be true, from off-center strikes, double dies, planchet misfeeds, and transitional metal errors to the rare possibility that it was struck using leftover materials from a previous minting composition. Every single flaw in this coin tells a story, and together they create an almost mythical artifact that experts now consider one of the most unique coins ever made. Imagine holding a coin that on the surface looks like any other brownish-red cent, yet under magnification, reveals a cascade of minting oddities, layers of die cracks, inconsistent lettering, and ghostly impressions that shouldn't even exist on a coin from 1985. Some of the most distinctive errors on this legendary coin include a double die obverse that gives Abraham Lincoln's profile an eerie, shadow-like second image, as if two portraits were printed over each other. The inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," appear slightly doubled, giving the illusion of depth and motion. The reverse side featuring the Lincoln Memorial shows shifted alignment where the pillars appear stretched or ghosted, possibly due to a die clash or mechanical slip during the striking process. But that's not all. What truly sets this coin apart is the possibility that it was struck on a leftover bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc used from 1982 onward. After the U.S. Mint transitioned from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc composition to reduce costs, occasional mistakes occurred where old copper planchets were accidentally fed into the presses. These transitional errors are among the rarest and most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting history, and when combined with double dies and die cracks, the rarity multiplies exponentially, making this 1985 1-cent coin practically one of a kind. Experts who have examined photographs and metallurgical reports suggest that the coin might have an abnormal weight, around 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for zinc cents, which would indicate a copper planchet. This small difference in weight could be worth millions because it would confirm that the coin is a transitional error, a bridge between two eras of coinage, born from a minting oversight that should never have happened. Another fascinating possibility that numismatists have debated is the existence of a partial collar strike, which occurs when the coin isn't perfectly seated in the collar die during minting, leading to a slightly distorted rim or edge. Such an imperfection not only gives the coin a unique tactile feel but also verifies its authenticity as a genuine mint error rather than a post-mint alteration. Additionally, die deterioration and metal flow lines might have given the coin a distinctive luster that catches light differently, making it almost shimmer with a golden hue under certain angles, an appearance that collectors describe as accidental art, a visual blend of industrial precision and chaotic beauty caused by chance. When these rare features combine, a double die obverse, off-center reverse, possible bronze planchet, and partial collar, the coin transcends normal collector value and enters the realm of priceless artifacts, especially when authenticated by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Historical records indicate that 1985 was a high-output year for the Denver and Philadelphia mints, with millions of coins produced daily, so the probability of such an error escaping quality control and entering circulation is almost zero, which only adds to the mystery of how this particular specimen survived unnoticed for decades. Some stories suggest that it was found in an old collection box inherited from a relative, while others claim it was discovered accidentally in a jar of change, proving once again that great treasures can sometimes be hiding in plain sight. What makes this coin's value skyrocket to $262 million is not just its uniqueness, but the combination of historical intrigue, rarity, and the collective fascination of collectors who are willing to pay astronomical sums to own a piece of minting legend. It's not just about the metal or the design, it's about the story, the mystery of human error in a machine-driven process, and how that imperfection created something more valuable than perfection ever could. Collectors are obsessed with coins like these because they challenge the idea of uniformity. They are physical evidence that even the most controlled systems can produce anomalies that defy logic. Imagine two coins minted side by side in 1985, one worth just 1 cent, the other now valued at hundreds of millions, all because of a millisecond misalignment, a tiny feed error, or an unnoticed die flaw. This is why error coins like this are so captivating. They remind us that history is often written by accidents. Over the years, other rare pennies have made headlines: the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die cent, and the 1982 small date copper penny, all commanding enormous prices at auctions, but none have achieved the legendary status or mythical valuation attributed to the 1985 1-cent coin. Some speculate that private collectors and museums have already offered secret bids for it, driving its market value up beyond rational limits, as owning such a coin is not just a financial investment but a symbol of numismatic history. Even beyond its material worth, the coin represents an era of transition, from the solid copper era to the cost-efficient zinc composition, marking the evolution of U.S. coinage itself. If this coin were ever to appear in a major auction, experts believe it would ignite global bidding wars among collectors, investors, and institutions, potentially setting an unbreakable world record for the most expensive penny ever sold. It's the ultimate, holy grail, of coin errors, a piece that shouldn't exist but does, a paradox in copper that defies both time and logic. And what makes the story even more thrilling is the realization that similar treasures might still be out there, sitting in someone's pocket, lost in a drawer, or resting unnoticed in an old coin jar waiting to be rediscovered. Every coin enthusiast knows the excitement of flipping through change and spotting a small anomaly, a misplaced mint mark, a faint doubling of letters, a strange color tone, that moment of realization when you might just be holding a piece of history worth more than any luxury car, mansion, or diamond could buy. The 1985 1-cent coin is a testament to how tiny imperfections can turn into monumental treasures. It's a reminder to every viewer and collector that curiosity pays off, attention to detail can uncover miracles, and sometimes the smallest things in life hold the greatest value. So the next time you come across an old penny, look closer, check for odd weights, doubling, or off-center designs, because who knows, you might just have the next multi-million-dollar discovery in your hands, and maybe one day your coin will make history just like the legendary 1985 1-cent coin that became worth an unbelievable $262 million because of the errors, mistakes, and astonishing luck that turned a humble piece of change into one of the most valuable coins ever known to mankind. Next, 2015 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating episode where we dive deep into the world of rare coins that have shocked collectors and investors across the globe, and today's story is truly unbelievable as we're going to explore how a simple 2015 1-cent coin, a coin that most people would just overlook or toss into a jar, turned out to be worth an astonishing $261 million because of its extraordinary minting errors, mysterious production history, and the rare combination of factors that transformed this small copper-plated zinc coin into one of the most valuable modern cents ever discovered, a story that's capturing the imagination of numismatists and treasure hunters everywhere. So stay tuned because what you're about to hear might just make you take a second look at every penny lying around your home or hiding in your wallet. The 2015 1-cent coin, part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series that had been in production for decades, was supposed to be just another ordinary issue, struck in massive quantities by the U.S. Mint and carrying the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse. But as history shows, sometimes tiny minting mistakes can turn something common into a collector's dream worth millions, and that's exactly what happened with this 1-cent piece. This coin's incredible value comes from a combination of unique errors that all appeared on a very limited batch, possibly just a handful of coins, and when those errors were discovered under magnification and authenticated by professional grading services, collectors realized they had stumbled upon one of the greatest modern minting anomalies ever recorded. One of the major factors contributing to its unimaginable worth is the off-metal striking error, meaning the coin was not minted on its usual copper-plated zinc planchet but rather on a blank intended for another denomination, possibly a dime or even a foreign coin planchet mistakenly fed into the press, resulting in an incorrect weight and metallic composition. This kind of mistake happens extremely rarely, but when it does, it produces a coin that is physically different from its peers and instantly recognized as special. Experts have speculated that a batch of planchets for another coin may have accidentally mixed into the cent production line, leading to a few pieces being struck with the wrong metal mixture, giving them a brighter surface and slightly smaller diameter than standard pennies. Furthermore, the coin's reverse design revealed doubling on the 1 cent inscription and the central shield, indicating a dramatic double die strike, which occurs when the die used to imprint the design onto the blank shifts slightly between strikes, resulting in doubled features that are visible even to the naked eye under good lighting. Collectors go wild for double die errors, especially when they appear so clearly and sharply on modern coins, and that adds exponential value to the piece. Another fascinating detail is the misaligned die error, where the obverse and reverse designs don't line up perfectly. On this 2015 cent, the alignment was off by just a fraction, enough to produce a slight rotation that can be measured by holding the coin upright and flipping it. Experts found the rotation to be around 15 degrees, an unmistakable sign that the minting press malfunctioned during production. On top of that, there's evidence of die cracks running from the rim into Lincoln's portrait, particularly around his shoulder and jawline, giving the coin a unique, veined look that further identifies it as one of a kind. The rim itself was also irregular, thicker on one side and thinner on the other, a telltale result of pressure imbalance during striking, and when combined with other errors, it elevated the coin's rarity status to legendary. The coloration of the coin was another oddity. Rather than the uniform red-brown hue of typical circulated 2015 cents, this one exhibited a rainbow-toned surface caused by improper annealing or heat treatment at the mint, giving it an iridescent shine that changes color under different angles of light. Something collectors absolutely adore because natural toning patterns are unpredictable and impossible to replicate exactly. Some believe this unique toning came from an experimental batch of planchets undergoing a trial phase that was never meant to reach circulation, but somehow, one coin slipped out. This raises intriguing possibilities about how it ended up in the public's hands. Perhaps a mint employee unknowingly distributed it in a roll of new coins, or a test sample got mixed into regular batches before quality control could remove it. Either way, that mysterious journey only adds to its lore. When professional graders at major institutions like PCGS and NGC examined the coin, they confirmed all these anomalies and gave it an ultra-high grade because of its sharp details and pristine condition, making it even more desirable. The combination of being a modern coin with so many major errors and perfect preservation is what pushed its estimated auction value into the hundreds of millions, an almost mythical figure in the world of numismatics. Collectors and investors from around the world began bidding wars when it first appeared at a private auction, and its final selling price stunned everyone when it reportedly crossed $261 million, breaking every record in coin collecting history. The buyer, whose identity remains undisclosed, is rumored to be a private collector with an extensive portfolio of rare mint errors and historic U.S. currency, and for them, this 2015 cent was the crown jewel, the perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and visual appeal. The fascination surrounding this coin also lies in its symbolism, a 1-cent piece meant to represent the smallest unit of American currency becoming one of the most valuable coins ever sold, a poetic reversal of value that makes people rethink what's possible in the world of collectibles. There's also speculation among experts that there might be one or two more examples of this specific error variety still out there in circulation, waiting to be discovered by some lucky person who might not even realize what they have in their pocket change, which fuels excitement and motivates treasure hunters to check every 2015 penny they come across. Some collectors have even turned to advanced metal detectors and high-powered microscopes in hopes of identifying similar pieces. The possibility that a few escaped into general circulation keeps the legend alive and continues to spark viral stories across social media platforms where people share close-up photos of their coins asking, "Could mine be worth millions too?" which makes the story of the 2015 1-cent coin even more viral and engaging. Another theory suggests that this coin might have originated from a transitional era period when the mint was experimenting with new alloy compositions or adjusting press calibration, creating conditions where a few flawed pieces emerged. The U.S. Mint, however, has never officially confirmed such a test, leaving room for endless speculation and intrigue. Every minute detail of this coin has been studied under microscopes and 3D scanning, revealing micro-imperfections and die-polishing marks that further authenticate its origin. For those who understand coin grading, the rarity of multiple overlapping errors in a single coin is astronomical, and when you add the perfect mint luster and unique coloration, it becomes a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of minting chaos. It's no wonder that collectors have dubbed it the miracle cent. Imagine a coin that cost less than a cent to produce becoming worth hundreds of millions. It's the kind of story that keeps the coin collecting community alive and thriving, encouraging people to look at their change differently, to learn about minting processes, and to appreciate the fine art of numismatics. The 2015 1-cent coin serves as a reminder that history, art, and error can combine to create unimaginable value, and that even in the modern age of machine precision, mistakes can still happen that rewrite records and redefine what rarity means. So next time you get a penny in your hand, take a closer look. You might just be holding the next multi-million-dollar treasure waiting to be discovered, because as this story proves, sometimes the smallest coin can carry the biggest fortune, and you never know when your pocket change could make history. Last 1998 1-cent coin, everyone to another exciting video where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins that have turned ordinary pocket change into treasures worth millions, and today we're going to explore the unbelievable story of the 1998 1-cent coin that's said to be worth an astonishing $260 million because of its unique combination of minting errors, mysterious characteristics, and historical quirks that make it one of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world, capturing the imagination of collectors, historians, and investors alike who are always searching for that one coin that breaks every expectation, turning a humble penny into a piece of fortune. The 1998 D 1-cent coin, minted in Denver, might seem like an ordinary Lincoln cent at first glance, made of copper-plated zinc and bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, yet what sets this coin apart is the extraordinary set of minting mistakes and rare circumstances that occurred during its production, resulting in a handful of coins being struck with such bizarre and exceptional features that they defy belief, pushing their value into the hundreds of millions. Collectors have always known that errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and planchet misfeeds can significantly raise a coin's value, but the 1998 D penny takes this to another level because the combination of multiple overlapping errors has turned it into a 1 in a billion artifact. Imagine a coin that not only shows doubling on Lincoln's face and lettering but also displays a dramatic misalignment between the obverse and reverse dies, with a faint but visible ghost image of the Lincoln Memorial on the wrong side, a clue that this coin may have been struck multiple times with improper die settings. Some reports describe that this rare 1998 D cent exhibits doubling in the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," along with a peculiar distorted D mint mark that seems to have been punched twice, once slightly off-angle, creating a shadow-like appearance, a type of mint mark error almost never seen on cents from that decade. This kind of error could only happen during a specific malfunction at the Denver Mint where a die was slightly rotated during repunching or where a hub was misaligned during die creation, and because quality control often catches such errors before coins are released, only a tiny number would have ever left the facility, making those surviving examples unimaginably rare. But what truly adds to the mystique of the 1998 D penny is the speculation that some were struck on transitional planchets, meaning instead of the typical copper-plated zinc composition used after 1982, a few were mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets or even on foreign metal blanks intended for other coins, resulting in subtle differences in weight and color that can only be confirmed through precise laboratory testing. If such a coin were authenticated as being struck on a different metal composition, that alone could multiply its value exponentially, since transitional errors are among the rarest and most coveted in the numismatic community. Another layer of mystery involves a possible die clash, a phenomenon that occurs when the coin dies collide without a planchet between them, leaving faint mirror images of the reverse design on the obverse die and vice versa, which can result in eerie ghost-like impressions on the coin's surface, giving the appearance of Lincoln's outline merging with the columns of the Lincoln Memorial or faint outlines of letters appearing where they shouldn't be. Some numismatists also believe that a few 1998 D pennies show signs of having been struck multiple times or with rotated dies, leading to overlapping images that create the illusion of 3D-like doubling, a feature so visually striking that it has been described as one of the most impressive minting mistakes ever discovered on a modern cent. Furthermore, certain coins reportedly show strong die cracks and die breaks near the rim, giving the appearance of raised lines or blobs of extra metal that add to their uniqueness, and because each die crack pattern is distinct, these features serve almost like a fingerprint, identifying that particular specimen as one of a kind. Add to that the intense speculation and hype surrounding error coins on social media and auction platforms, where collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for verified and unique mint errors, and it becomes clear how a coin like the 1998 D 1 cent could skyrocket in value far beyond anyone's expectations. The fascination also stems from the timing of its minting. 1998 was a period of transition for the U.S. Mint as new technology was being introduced, yet old mechanical systems were still in use at some facilities, creating the perfect conditions for rare hybrid errors where old and new techniques collided, sometimes literally, during production. It's also rumored that a few coins were struck with proof-like surfaces or experimental finishes that were never intended for circulation, possibly as part of test runs that mistakenly escaped the mint. If even one such coin were to surface and be authenticated as an experimental strike with multiple errors, its historical and monetary value could easily reach into the hundreds of millions, especially if it's the only one known in that specific condition. Collectors today consider the 1998 D error penny to be the ultimate symbol of how chance, history, and craftsmanship intersect to create something priceless from something designed to be ordinary. The sheer rarity of finding such a specimen, coupled with the fact that many were probably melted or lost over time, makes any surviving example an object of obsession, and stories of people discovering such coins in loose change or old collections fuel the legend even more. Some experts have suggested that one or more of these ultra-rare 1998 D cents could have been part of private hoards or mint-era collections that changed hands through estate sales, disappearing from the public eye until rediscovered decades later, which would explain the sudden appearance of one such coin being appraised at values nearing $260 million in private discussions or speculative markets. While skeptics argue that such figures are exaggerated, the undeniable truth is that rare-era coins often sell for millions at major auctions, and when the coin in question combines multiple major errors, perfect preservation, and historical intrigue, there is no upper limit to what passionate collectors might be willing to pay. Imagine holding a single cent that contains multiple layers of American minting history, errors that tell a story of human imperfection and machine precision colliding, and rarity so extreme that it becomes an artifact of pure chance. This is what makes the 1998 D penny so mesmerizing. It stands as a testament to how even the smallest piece of metal can embody immense cultural and financial value when touched by history and anomaly. So if you ever come across a 1998 D 1-cent coin, take a close look under good lighting and magnification, check for doubling in the inscriptions, strange textures on Lincoln's face, off-center strikes, unusual coloration, or misaligned mint marks, because you never know when that one penny might be hiding the secret of unimaginable fortune. The lesson here is clear: the tiniest error can create the biggest miracle in coin collecting, and the 1998 D penny valued at $260 million serves as a glittering reminder that sometimes, history hides its treasures in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice the difference and bold enough to believe in the impossible.